Hey, 2717. The best leaders lead by example. Stick around. We're going to talk about leading by example. Here we go.
Guys, welcome to 2717. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about leading by example and why. Why do we lead by example, Merritt?
We will answer those questions today.
We're about to dive into it.
That's what we're going to do.
So, if I think about whenever I first started having any kind of leadership responsibilities, right? I was an educational director for a company called Tony & Guy, largest, strongest hairdressing company in the world.
Sure.
And so my first responsibilities of being a leader was I was educating these young people that were coming in. And they watch you like a hawk.
Yep.
And whatever you do, they're going to think that's how they do it, good or bad.
Yep.
So if I'm cutting corners, they're cutting corners.
That's right.
Right? If my talk, right, is negative or if I'm cussing, they are going to think, okay, this is what we get to do here.
That's right.
Right? So whatever they saw me do, they did. And so whenever we talk about leading by example, if you want to create the atmosphere of success, integrity, where you just ooze, greatness, it is the standard that you hold yourself to. Because and here's the next thing. Most people are going to miss it a little bit. They might not rise up to the excellent level that you set. They're going to probably fall under it a little.
It's true.
And so if you've got the bar so low, then guess what? The people that you're leading are going to pretty much not even hit that.
You're 100% right.
Right? So the most success that I experienced whenever I first started leading was whenever I had extreme disciplines and I was very focused and I was prepared.
Yep.
And then I could lead and I could guide and I could teach and I would set the bar so high. And in fact, in Model Nights, people got to where they were just scared to death of me to teach and to check their haircuts.
Yeah.
Which became almost a badge of honor in a sense of that was the standard. Like whenever I would walk, here's an example. If you're in a company and you're a leader in a company or the owner of the company and you walk into the break room, do people stop talking immediately and kind of like shuffle around and like, oh, I got it, or do they just keep telling their dirty jokes and laughing and act like you're not even there, right?
Yeah.
So there's just some examples of why, right? We have to lead by example.
Yeah, as I kind of my opening thoughts, Wade, is great leaders build trusting environments.
Yeah.
A high level of trust. I think you're talking about respect. We're going to go to all these different things, but how is trust created? It's created not by a leader that tells people what to do. It's created by a leader that shows people what to do. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the essence, I believe, of leading by example.
Yeah.
We're going to tell people, there's time, hey, if you're instructing on a haircut, but at times, I've never done this, but you take the mannequin, take out and say, okay, come here, watch me do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you do it. Do you understand? Yes. Okay. Now I get it. Okay. But, it's not just the guy barking the order and then going and doing something different. Like, if you're teaching a haircut and you teach it this way, and then he's watching you cut somebody and he goes, well, he ain't doing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's cutting a corner. Why is he doing it? Well, I was in a hurry on this one.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So everything you're telling me, so leading by example, I just think at the end of the day, Wade, it's as I just my opening thoughts is it creates a trusting, integrity-based organization that you can build on. And listen, the stronger the foundation, the bigger you can build.
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
You want a real big organization, you got to have a real big. I can't remember. We did a podcast a long time ago in the tallest building in the world.
How
many
footings?
How many how many feet deep? It was like 100 and something feet deep.
Yeah, for the
that the
footings.
footings went to be able to sustain and stabilize the tallest building in the world.
Yeah.
Which is just shocking to think about. But again, leading by example, creating that trusting environment, that integrity-based environment, it's done through leading by example. Yeah, what was that? More than 50 meters, 164
feet deep. Wow.
Can you imagine?
192.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, so just my opening thoughts, Wade, is that.
Well,
and
so touch base on what I was saying there. And I probably didn't articulate the greatest way, but I had to know how to do it first, right?
of course.
So whenever I'm talking about leading somebody, you have to know how to do it. You watch them do it. No, sorry. You have to know how to do it. They watch you do it. You watch them do it. Then they do it.
Yep.
Anything short of that, and you're setting somebody up for failure.
Yep.
Right. So I have to know how to do it first, with excellence. Then they get to observe me doing it, and then I observe them doing it. Right. And there's all kinds of coaching and mentoring going on during this whole process. Mm-hmm. And then once I've observed them do it, and I feel like they've got it, then I let them do it on their own.
Yeah.
Right? And so anytime you're leading, building, mentoring somebody, you've got to go through that 4-step process. And it's, as you grow, that becomes hard to do. You can dilute those processes.
Yep.
Right? You can get a little bit sloppy on how you're doing things. And then you can get to be a little bit not as attentive on and whenever they're watching you do it. And then whenever they're doing it, you kind of are like, oh, okay, well that'll do. Right?
Right.
Because you're in a sense of urgency. You got to get things done. You need that person out there doing it by themselves, right? And so you start to dilute things, and this is where businesses get really, really jacked up.
Yeah.
Right. You were talking about how you went to Nashville or somewhere, and
He
said, "Hey, don't offer a Texan barbecue here ever again. It's not up to
Brisket.
par." Yeah, or brisket. Yeah.
I might eat some sausage. Now, pulled pork?
Yeah.
I bet they know how to do pulled pork.
Yeah.
Right.
But brisket. Yeah.
I told that Nashville guy, I said, what do you recommend? I'm from Texas. He goes, the brisket. And I said, I told you I'm from Texas. And he said, best brisket you'll ever have. That was not true. It was not the best brisket I'd ever
And he
had.
literally said, "You got somebody from Texas in here again?"
Well, dude, I've been to Aaron Franklin's. I've
Don't
been
do
to
it.
La Barbecue, which is a Michelin one-star. I've been to some legit bad to the bone Texas
Hey,
brisket.
we got Tyler's right here in Amarillo, Texas.
Tyler's. I mean, I'm telling you.
boy.
And so, anyway.
But
yeah.
I was saying that to say, maybe they did have some really good brisket, right, at one point, and then they started to dilute their process, right? Because they get a little compromised, they get busy, right?
I think barbecue's a perfect example, Wade, because it takes a lot to make good barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, the prep time, the cook time, the smoking this,
The
doing all the wood. I mean,
right
it's
type.
it's very expensive. To buy quality meat, it's expensive. I mean, if you go, I think I told you, I was down in Houston. I wanted a Craven barbecue. I went into, it was a good barbecue place.
Yeah.
I paid $30 for me to have lunch.
Yeah, just one. Yeah.
And that's not that outrageous. I mean,
No.
it's expensive to do. So,
It is.
Can I jump into my first
Yeah,
point?
no, hammer down.
Yeah. So the first point I wanted to make on leading by example is really just talking about work ethic and dedication. What I've taught, and by the way, I want to say this. Wade and I teach out of experience, not out of textbook.
Yes.
We don't chat GBT a lesson and then read you that. This is all, and I don't want to be disparaging, but there's a lot of people on social media that are teaching systems, and if you go, oh well, what businesses do you have and what businesses did you grow and tell me your success story. Their success story is writing programs and selling programs and getting people to subscribe to them and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. We've actually built real businesses. We're actually running real businesses.
Yeah.
So this is what we're living and breathing this every single day.
Yeah.
But let me just tell you something, and say, well, that's kind of old-fashioned. I read this book on the 4-hour work week. I don't know all my successful friends work their tails off, Wade.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to, I will just tell you, to get into the top 10% of almost anything, If you'll show up early, dedicate yourself, don't mess around when you're at work, really dedicate yourself to what you're doing, work hard, be diligent, be dedicated, and then stay late. I'm just talking about you put the time in, you put the work in, and you do it consistently, you will go in almost every organization to the top 10%.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, once you get to the top 10%,
it's competitive.
you're talking
because everybody's doing what you're doing.
Right. Everybody's got the work thing down. Now it's time, okay, everybody knows how to work. Now who's got more skills, who's got more talent?
Yeah, what's your capacity?
Of visionary capacity. Can you build and lead teams? All those kind of things are what go into it. But start before others start, finish after people finish, show up mentally, physically, and emotionally ready, exceed expectations, and always go the extra mile.
Yeah.
That sounds old-fashioned, but I'm just telling you right now.
There's no substitution.
There's no substitution. And going back to your point, Wade, you said it on your intro, your team will probably perform up to 80% of what you do.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you set a low bar, you show up 30 minutes late, you cut out an hour early, you're messing around on social media most of the day, and then you're going to get mad at your people for doing the same thing or maybe even worse.
Yeah.
People do what people see.
That's right.
It's the classic, dad that's over there puffing on a cigarette and saying, "Boy, I better not catch you smoking."
Yeah.
Well,
he's still in the cigarettes.
Yeah, he's still in dad's cigarettes out in
and
the alley and he's smoking. How do I know? Because my dad used to smoke.
Yeah. I used to smoke something else. But
exactly. So, but work ethic, dedication will always be the bedrock. And it's just a way of leading by example. I just think it's the foundation way.
And I'm going to say the same thing you're saying, but this is what I always teach. I always teach be an asset in life, not a liability. So if you're going to lead by example, what does that mean? What does that asset mean in life? Well, in the financial realm, you have assets and liabilities, right? You have assets that make you money, and you have other properties and businesses and investments that are losing money. That is a liability, right? So in life, every single person out here is either an asset or a liability based on the problems you're solving or problems you're creating.
There you go.
If you are solving problems, you are an asset.
Yep.
And the more problems you solve, the more of an asset you become.
That's right.
If you're creating problems, you are a liability. And you will be put down to the lowest level of job, right? And you'll be, just in life, you're not going to find success. You're just going to continue to find problem after problem after problem after problem. You will never become a leader. If you want to be a leader, you've got to learn how to solve problems, right? And then come in early, leave late, right? You already said it. You have to work hard. Do work, son.
Yep.
Work hard. On a regular basis, you come in early and you leave late and you outwork everybody. Does everybody have the ability to do that? Absolutely. It's just a mindset. It's a mindset. And God gave this beautiful thing called a brain. And it's meant to solve problems, Merritt. It's meant to solve problems. Everybody out there has an even playing field, man. You have a brain. Use it. Solve problems. Stop hiding from those problems. Stop ducking out early. Stop avoiding the problems. Solve the daggum problems. And just like a muscle, the more you exercise that problem-solving brain, the better you get at it.
Wait, when I was a young man, I got some advice, and so I did this. And it worked remarkably well, so I'm going to give the same advice now.
Yeah.
They said, hey, you're about to start your first job. Get to know everybody, kind of don't do it day one. But pretty early on, go into your boss and say, hey, if there's anything I can help you with, any a problem you've got, you need some, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, right? And so I did that. And then they said, before you go home every day, go into your boss and say, hey, I'm about to check out. I'm good. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ride the clock. I'll clock out. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Can I help you in any way? It sounds old-fashioned. It will,
Dude.
You will skyrocket.
It's music to my ears.
Yeah.
As an owner,
Yeah.
that is music to my daggum ears, bro.
Yeah. And how often do people do that, Wade?
Never.
Almost never.
Never.
So
Never.
again,
I have an amazing team. Don't get me wrong.
I know what you're saying.
But on the regular,
Right.
nobody is doing that on the regular.
Right.
That I know of.
And so if we become problem solvers, so what, to your point, Wade,
Yeah.
that's a problem solver. You're helping your boss become a problem solver. Hey, let me tell you another little nugget. You know that the vast majority, I don't know the percentage, Talon, you can look it up, but of millionaires in the U.S. that work for somebody else. It's way more than are self-employed.
There's quite a few.
Here's the deal with being self-employed. Wade and I are self-employed. I'm not telling you Talon's self-employed. We're not telling you not to be self-employed.
Sure.
But most people that start a business fail.
Uh-huh.
The failure rate of self-employed businesses is really, really high. Do you know that multiple NBA, NFL team owners were people that worked for, never owned the company, worked for companies like Microsoft and other companies that became multi-billionaires?
For sure.
So don't think that, well, I keep watching everybody on social media and I'm not self-employed and I'm not going to be super successful.
Yeah.
You go help somebody build a super successful business.
Absolutely.
You make yourself invaluable.
Yeah.
You're going to be just fine.
You're going to kill it.
Yeah, you're going to do good.
Kill it.
Did you find something there, Tal? You want to share? Okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay. But
So
anyway,
I was going to say
don't discount yourself if you're working for somebody.
No,
else.
and I was just going to say this. So we've been interviewing somebody who's kind of a high caliber person in our industry, and this just goes back to what you were saying. This mindset of I'm not going to just do my job description. I am going to solve whatever problem is out there.
Yeah.
This is in an interview, Merritt. This is like our third interview that we've had with this person. In the interview, we found out something weird with a problem in the company. Literally during the interview, something weird happened that was really big, and Sylvia just kind of like was shocked and said it out loud. The person we're interviewing immediately started solving the problem for us. I mean, are you kidding me?
Wow.
You want to be an asset? I mean, I don't know where this person is going to fall with us or not, but I'm just telling you right now, you want to be a true asset and be a leader, and rise up and do something amazing.
Yep.
When you have that kind of a mindset where you're brainstorming, trying to solve problems, and you don't even work there.
Yep. Yep. Big time.
That's huge.
So I'm going to go to my second point, and that's accountability. Now, when we talk about accountability, we talk about work. Typically, I'll hear people say, "Yeah, I'm trying to hold my people accountable," and da da da. But remember, we're talking about leading by example.
Yeah.
How are you holding yourself accountable? Now, maybe you're the boss, maybe you're not.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about leading by example. What is your level of accountability to yourself? We're talking about showing up to work on time or showing up to work early, being diligent, doing what you're asking to do, being honest. How about this? Owning up to your own mistake. Let's say you're not the boss. You walk into your boss's office and say, "Hey, boss, this is what I did. I want to let you know. Here's what I've done to try to correct it, but I kind of messed up a little bit. But here's the things I've done to correct it. Is there anything else you would like me to do? I'm always going to be honest with you." Again, how often do those things happen? Almost never.
Yeah.
People are trying to hide it. Oh gosh, I don't want the boss to know I did this because what if I have to pay up for something or whatever? Man, what you'll gain. But let's flip it around here again.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you being accountable. So let's speak to the people that are the boss. First of all, your teams know that you're not perfect. They already know you have flaws. And if you step in front of your team and say, "Hey, I want to let you know we tried this, we went this direction, whatever, it didn't work, and that was my decision, that was my call, and I own it."
Yeah.
And here's another thing that I found, it's not even in my notes. My team wants to help, Wade. And I've had to go to them at times and say, "I really thought this was going to work, and we invested quite a bit of money, and we put a lot of effort into it. It didn't work.
Yeah.
And I've got some ideas. I got some directions I think I want to go. But you're my leadership team. Where do we need to go? What are you seeing? I've got an idea.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't come prepared. I am prepared.
Yeah.
But what are your ideas?" And then so often it kind of going, "Well, it's kind of what I'm thinking," And then we start kind of massaging the deal. But owning up to your mistakes, holding yourself accountable, putting yourself up to a high standard.
Yeah.
I think again leading by example, it is absolutely critical that we do that, Wade.
Oh, I love that. Well, and it just goes back to trust, right? How can you lead if your people that you're trying to lead don't trust you, right? So whenever you're vulnerable, and you can talk about the hard things, possible failures, that you've even had recently, with decisions or this or that, and just saying, hey man, I thought this was going to work, and it just didn't work. So, I really need y'all's help, and, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? But whenever they can trust you, then they're going to want to, right? They want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They want to go the extra mile,
Yep.
right? That when that trust is built, and here's the thing, how can you build something whenever you don't trust each other? You just can't.
You can't.
Look at a relationship. Look at a friendship. Look at a marriage, Whenever that trust is constantly broken, how in the world can you really grow together? You can't, because
No.
you kind of have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're just not real sure what's going to happen. I don't know,
Yep.
right? So if you really want to be an amazing, strong leader, character, right? What is your character built on?
Big time,
Right.
and goes back to holding yourself accountable. Okay, so let's do two more. Interesting one I wanted to talk about. This can leading by example is, and I'm going to throw a scripture out here. 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we live by faith and not by sight. I jumped down to number 4, Wade.
Yeah.
And again, faith here is the Greek word pistis, which I've taught this so many times, but it's faith with an implication that action is going to be required, right?
Yeah.
So leading by example, we live in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty. We're going to talk about anxiety on an upcoming episode.
Yeah.
I think the next one, actually.
Yeah.
And the last thing, again, we're talking about leading by example. The last thing our teams need is an unsure person, lacking in faith, being afraid to make a decision,
Yeah.
right? Hunkered down, hey boss, what are we going to do? I have no idea. I'm freaking out. I'm
Yeah.
all these things, right?
Yeah.
I get it. You may be in that place,
Yeah.
but my advice would be go into that quiet room, go into your bathroom, whatever you got to do, get on your knees, pray.
Yeah.
God, I need you right now. But when you go out and they see you, they see a bold man or woman of God, prayed up, full of faith, pistis level faith, knowing that, hey, I have faith. I understand that in action, decisions, we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
And even that level of faith, even if you don't have the perfect plan, but walking it out in that level, again, leading by example,
Yeah.
people will follow that way.
Yeah.
People want a faithful leader that they can get
Yeah.
behind. And I'm just telling you, how important is that in business and leading a family and all the things we do in life?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
faith is huge.
It is, and we're not talking, and so on that subject, people can see through, I think, imposter syndrome.
Oh,
So when we're talking about, listen, there's going to be struggles in life that hit you, that you're gonna feel hopeless. You're gonna feel like, I don't see a way. I don't know how we're gonna get through this. I don't know how we're gonna make it. I don't know how to inspire these people. That's where I'm just gonna say, you again have to seek the one,
Yeah.
right? When you go to God and you get on your knees, or you go to your prayer closet and you're like, Father, I don't know how to do this. I need you, and I can't do it without you. It's all yours anyway. So can you give me some wisdom here?
Yeah.
Can you help me out here? Right? He always shows up, Merritt. Every single time he always shows up.
100%.
And I shared this a long time ago. The ladies out of wherever that I got introduced by you, and they asked
in
me
Tennessee.
Yeah, in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they asked me to come down and mentor them in their business. Da da da. So my team comes. They're packing up their computers and laptops and blah blah blah. And the night before, I geek out, and I'm like, I don't know how to type. I got to take a laptop, but what am I going to do?
Right.
I just start freaking out,
Right.
right? And so that next morning, I pray, and God says, take your tools, the tools I've given you. So I grab my shears, my clippers, and all the stuff that that I've used my whole life. And He said, I'm going to be with you. It's going to be okay. So we go, and sure enough, we sit down and start talking. and God shows up, wisdom starts flowing through me, and I mentor them and love on them and help them tremendously in the way that they were leading.
That's right.
The way they were leading.
Yep.
And then I was able to take my tools, and I did some demonstrations, and I spoke and did an amazing seminar that just was, I mean, people were crying. Like, it was that powerful. It wasn't weighed. I was humble.
Yep.
And said, Father God, I cannot do any of this without you, Father.
Yep.
It's all about you.
Yep.
Help me, show me. How can I be a leader? How can I reach these people? Tell me what to say, right? Because if all I'm doing is just trying to make Wade look good, man, that's gonna be a short-lived deal.
Yeah.
Pride comes before the
That's
fall. Right? Pride comes before the fall. So whenever we humble ourselves and we say, Father, Lord, help me. Not my agenda, but your agenda. These people need you. They need you. How can I help them? Not just in life. And this is the thing that we pride ourselves in our company. We don't want people to just be by the bone behind the chair. We want you to be successful in life, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your child training. Talk about leading by example. How important is it that your children have a great mentor, right? That you're teaching them how to handle life's problems.
That's right.
Not to run and hide from them, but to take on those challenges and overcome, right? And yes, it is not going to be fun to watch your kids go through stuff, but when you see their character come out, whenever you see the seeds and all the example, because they've watched you lead in life, and then whenever the storms of life hit them, and what comes out of them is the strength and the courage of Jesus Christ, and they've watched you lead with that example, and what a proud father and mother moment, right?
Amen.
What an amazing moment. And you see this in your teams.
Yep.
My teams have faced challenge after challenge after challenge. And I've seen it during COVID. My teams already had a plan before I even knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, okay, guys, what are we going to do? They're pitching out ideas. We need to shift online. We need to do this. We need to do that. And the team came together. And it's amazing to see.
Amen.
Right? Whenever you do the hard things and you constantly lead and try to do the next right thing, right?
Yep.
People are always watching you.
Well, and Wade, the esthetician school in Tennessee, what did they do? The other thing they did is they reach out to somebody else, a trusted, wise counsel, let's call that, right? Then what did you do in your same examples you taught? You reached out to your leadership team for wise counsel. I don't know how many times in my life, again, leading by example, that I felt lacking, right? Whatever, right? I mean, things are not where they need to be.
I just shared with y'all this morning. I was like, I feel insecure.
but so often I bring in somebody else's wise counsel. They look at the situation. They go, "Oh, Mary, you're good. There's, just do this, do this." I mean, I'm going, "Oh yeah, okay, right." So listen, we could go on and on, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what I want to encourage you guys with is lead by example, right? Be a faithful man and woman of God. Step out. Show up early, work hard, be diligent, get wise counsel, do all these things. But people catch more than they're taught, right?
Yes, 100%. And you say this a lot, Merritt. What you look for, you'll find.
That's right.
So if you want to lead by example, where's your heart posture? Where's your heart posture? What is it chasing after? And if it's not chasing after the right things in life and you're not becoming that leader that you really want to be, then you need to get time with God. Let God burn. We've talked about this a lot in the podcast. Let God burn off of you everything that needs to be burned off so that you can be the leader that God has called you to be.
That's right.
Because your heart will shift, and the things you thought were so important that you're chasing after and going after that are not causing you to be a great leader, those things will completely change. And all of a sudden now your heart is positioned to be this amazing godly leader.
Yes.
And you might even feel like, okay, I don't feel like this is that significant. I feel like maybe I need to say something bigger. No, if you are led by Holy Spirit, what you're saying is exactly what people need to hear.
That's exactly right.
And you will see the impact and the truth of that come out.
That's right. All right. Well, 2717, listen, don't just tell people what to do, show them what to do.
That's right.
Be somebody that leads by example. Amen. We love you. See you next time.
See you guys.